Hello everyone, welcome back to my vlog. All right, this is a super exciting vlog for me because I have officially finished my first year of medical school. I honestly never thought this day was gonna come. I cannot even believe it. It has been this is gonna sound so cliche. Flew by so fast. I'm not even joking you, it really did though. Equal parts misery, equal parts amazing, equal parts inspiring, equal parts defeating, and all the opposites that you could think of. I am so happy that I'm on break. Holy cow. We're gonna talk about a few things. We're gonna recap some of my highs and lows. We're gonna talk about med school for a little bit though. Can you guys even believe it has been a whole year? A whole year. I'd made my first vlog like 11 and a half months ago. 11 months ago, which means, yes, you guessed it, I'm a second year medical student. Woo! Passed everything, did wonderful, got one gray hair in the process, no wrinkles, so I will consider that a win. Also on a completely different note, I went and looked back to my very first vlog. Cringy. First of all, my face is greasy as hell. I didn't even wash my face before my first vlog? Like what? Second of all, my camera's up and down with that one. I had two of my good Judies back from Connecticut tell me, don't do that mistake again. And then I was talking like this the whole time as if I had a microphone. I don't even know. It's clearly still figuring out how to do the whole vlog thing. But anyways, we have really come a long way. I just realized I have to change the title of this. I think it still says first year med student, doesn't it? All right, well, we'll just relish in this as one last hurrah that it says first year. Although I've been on summer break for 3 weeks, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I really started to find my inner peace again, my calm, cool, collected self, probably like 3 or 4 days ago. I thought she was gone. I thought, good riddance, med school scared you away, I'm never gonna be able to find peace again. Let me repeat, I've been on summer break for 3 weeks, but I have moved. I have had family here for a week. I went to South Padre Island, I got food poisoning, I got an infection in my gums that is going on right now. Not to get lost in the weeds here, but I have a bone implant, or a bone graft, excuse me, up in my gums. How to get implants, sinus lift, the whole 9 yards. And unfortunately my infection has gone up in there, so it's this whole ordeal I'm dealing with. And $850 later, which I do not have $850, so I had to sit here and swallow my pride and ask for help. So anyways, all of that has happened in 3 weeks, so I'm doing a lot of stuff this summer as well, so I think now you can probably imagine why I said my inner peace just decided to show back up 3 or 4 days ago. So, if you really want to know how I'm spending my summer break, I had a plan in place 3 weeks ago. I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna follow the strict agenda. You're gonna study for boards. You're gonna do your research, shadow. You're gonna devote a little bit of time every day. Nope. I obviously, for reasons I just explained, my life has just been a curveball this summer. So I am prioritizing my mental health. I am shadowing at my leisure, which has been fun. I am doing research, which has also been fun, and I've enjoyed it because I haven't had any other stresses. And I'm catching up on TV, going on walks. Well, I'm not going on very many walks, let's be honest. It's been 100+ degrees the last week here. So I'm thinking about going on walks, and I'm just relaxing. This is our last hurrah. I see some of my classmates are doing the most. Some of them are doing Anki every day. Some of them are studying like crazy. Some of them are going on vacations, and I am just not caring what anybody else is doing. Kevin's back in Connecticut for a month. My twin doesn't move here for 3 more weeks, so it is just me, my 2 kitties. Okay, let's move on. One of the things I get asked all the time is like, looking back, was med school what you thought it was gonna be? I think that's a very good question. Yes and no. Med school is obviously all-encompassing. It's a full-time job, demands all of your attention. I just did not expect it to, this is gonna sound stupid too, but as hard as it is, it's not even that it was hard, but it is just very, very few things in my life have slowed me down. I have had 2 full-time jobs, juggled that very well. I did grad school full-time on top of being a full-time employee with some leadership capacities. I've always able to be my bubbly self and whatnot in all of those moments in my life. All through my 20s I've done this. And med school, I actually was excited because I thought I was gonna slow down a little bit, not do the most all the time. And it just, holy guacamole. I got burnt out a lot this last year for my own fault, but that's, trial and error. You figure out what works and doesn't work. It took me longer than ideal to find my footing. I think it took me to like October, November, just with the amount of resources. Like, do you study with people, without people? What subjects are better to study together or alone? Just all these different variables that I just didn't expect to encounter made it harder for me to find the most efficient way to study. Also, with that being said, I have realized I have studied so inefficiently my entire life. There's a way to study and a way not to study, and I think I have worked twice as hard my entire life to get the grades that I did because I was just not studying very smart. I thought I was, so that's something med school has also taught me. I will say it's less competitive than I thought. That might be because my school doesn't rank us. We don't necessarily like have to be like, oh, well, I'm ranked blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So like we're not always up in each other's face like that. Another thing that I also thought was really hard in med school is I think people just are reluctant to admit some of the stressors that they're going through. They're like, you want to be a doctor, you knew what you were signing up for. These are the stressors you're always going to deal with. So it's kind of like this unspoken thing, like you don't want to admit that you're stressing out about some of the things that you are because it might make you look weaker or inferior to your peers. I don't know. That was something that I experienced a lot this last year. And now again, I don't care. Now I'm like, what if I can feel whatever I feel, I'm going to be a wonderful doctor and I'm proud of myself for even admitting it. Obviously that's hilarious because I sound like a hypocrite because most of this first year I have been holding in some of the stressors and whatnot. I did whatever. Didn't expect that from med school, but that is something I have experienced this year. I saw one of my classmates post something earlier today and it perfectly captured one of the fears that I had a lot through this last year. And that was, is this exhaustion permanent? I never take medical school for granted. But there were moments where I'm like, am I going to be like this quite literally for 4 years? And then you start to like freak yourself out. You're like, oh my gosh. And there was never a moment that I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I never had like a breaking moment like that. I'm so grateful to be given the opportunity that I am in med school, but that doesn't mean that I still wasn't having those thoughts. You know, I'm like, oh my God, this exhaustion is like overwhelming sometimes. I don't get sleep. Like I'm missing out on life and my friends and my family. And even when I have the opportunity to see them, I don't have the money to go see them. And so anyways, another thing, so y'all know me, I'm a skincare junkie. So I'm always trying to keep up with myself. And there were moments up until last year, I'm not joking you, as soon as I jumped on the skincare bandwagon, I always wore sunscreen. I always washed my face, you know, morning, night, did all this extra stuff to it, bougie, whatever. I cannot tell you the amount of times I got so lazy sometimes. I don't want to say lazy, let me rephrase that. Stressed and overwhelmed at times that I would just go to bed without even washing my face. There were times where I would forget my sunscreen. Me, a year ago, would be slapping the shit out of myself. Do you want to look like you're 50 years old by the time you come out of med school? For real? At one point, I remember in unit 4, that was probably the hardest unit for me. And my eyes were just like this all the time. Everywhere I go, I was tired. I had a very short tolerance for people. It was just bad. I thought these were permanent. I was like, oh my God, I have wrinkles. These are never gonna go away. And as a blonde person, fun fact, I have every color hair in my beard. Every summer, there's some that just get so bleached out from the sun. I always have that fear. I'm like, oh my God, am I getting white hair? Then they go away by the winter time, but because we're in Texas and the sun's out all the time, there's like 2 hairs right here. I pulled them. You're not gonna be able to see them right now. They are completely white. It's begun. I'm starting to get old. I need to stop stressing, stop tweaking, because that's gonna double next year and then triple third year. Oh my God. So anyway, so that was a fear I had. And if you're judging me right now, go ahead. I could care less. All my siblings, I'm child number 5 of 7. And the other ones, they started to get white hair. They're in like their mid-30s now and they have a few white hairs. So I'm like, they did not start at 28. I'm not about to be the one to start this early. It was just so hard. So I was just having a hard time managing my stress. And because of that, I just couldn't summon the energy sometimes to be the student that I wanted to be. And that scared me a little bit. But you know, I always came out on top. I know I'm not alone in thinking like this. Every med student's got these fears. Well, now that I've just talked about all the hard parts of med school and thoughts and scary things, blah, 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 I want to talk about some of my favorite moments from this last year. So there were so many socials. At the beginning of the year, it was not hard to meet people. The school did a very wonderful job. All the different organizations had socials every weekend. Like I was so socialed out, but I met so many people. It was a lot of fun. Really got me to see San Antonio. I met some second years. I met some cool friends. We had this wonderful med gala. That was a lot of fun. That was very classy. That was cool. A lot of the faculty went too. It takes us out of the stress of med school for a little bit. And we get to see people outside all dressed fancy, and it was great Gatsby themed and whatnot, or Roaring 20s or something like that. It was really, really fun. One of my favorite parts from this last year actually was just a couple months ago. I volunteered to help at graduation. I'm a sentimental sap. I'll be the first one to admit it. I'm not like a crier in public, but I cry on the inside all the time. I like go behind closed doors. I'm like, seeing all the 4th years, they were just calling each other like, congrats, doctor, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, I loved it. It honestly, picturing myself like, wow, in graduation, that's gonna be me. People, my friends are gonna call me Dr. Connor. That was probably one of my favorite moments of med school so far. Another really cool moment is when you invest all this time and energy into research and you're like, yeah, I could be studying right now, and instead I'm doing research because I'm trying to be like a competitive applicant for residency. All of that can be stressful, but all the data comes together and you get the posters and you get to present them. That was a really cool thing too. So me and a few other first years, we got a published poster and we were at the research day, and I cannot tell you the amount of people who noticed. It made me feel so good of all the energy and time and like effort that we've been putting towards this, and now people like are recognizing us for it and are impressed with us. And so that was a very, very cool moment too. What I really, really like now is that I really feel like I belong in my med school. I go there, I'm like, this is my campus, this is my school, I have a place here, I've earned a seat. Faculty knows me, my classmates all know me. I really feel like I hold my own here. I feel very comfortable, and that sense of belonging is just something I cannot describe, because med school is just such a far off dream for so many of us for so many years. And now you're here and you're owning it and loving it. And so those are just like highlights of the year. It makes it all worth it. Okay, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. I've officially talked myself to death and my cats are staring at me. It's clearly playtime or treat time, I don't know. Like I said, this is their house, I'm just living in it. Thank you for watching, guys. Catch me next week. I'm gonna try to do something fun next week, and I have nothing to distract me from making a vlog. I always say, oh, I'll do it next week, and it's like a month later, but anyways, so thank you for watching. Check you guys next week. See you later.